Hi everyone, this is Divyang Khandelwal from Division Math Academy, and in this video you will be able to memorize all the formula of area and perimeter in such a way that you will never forget. Moreover, I'll be giving you one tip which will not only avoid the confusion between the formulae but will also avoid all the silly mistakes which we generally make. So without wasting any time, let's start with this thing called area and perimeter. Now, the shapes are divided into two parts. The first one is 2D and the second one is 3D. Like 2D shapes are basically which we can draw on the paper. 3D shapes also we can draw, but we can feel like object. So these are basically 3D shapes. Now for 2D shapes, we will be learning area and perimeter of rectangle, square, parallelogram, triangle and circle. And for 3D shapes, we will be dealing with cuboid, cube, cylinder, cone and sphere. And also we are going to learn trapezium during the video. So anyways, so first let's talk about area and perimeter. So if you see area and perimeter, first of all, it is only for 2D shapes. So now if I talk about perimeter, so supposingly if I have a thread, so I can make various shapes out of this thread. So maybe it could be a circle, it could be a triangle, it could be a rectangle, it could be a square, or maybe something random like this shape. The thing is, the length of the thread will always remain same, and that length is basically perimeter. So the length is basically perimeter. But if we talk about area, area is always of the closed surface. That means what? You cannot find the area of this region. But if I connect, then yes, we can find the area of this region. Now we have various shapes. So area means what? So if I say 100 meters square, that's the area of some ground or something like that. So if you see 100 meters square means what? That if the ground is of like this shape, then there are 100 squares of 1 by 1 meter each, of 1 meter by 1 meter each, which can be placed under this surface. So that is basically your area. Now we'll start with this thing, rectangle. Remember that I'm going to give you one tip which will be so useful that you won't ever make silly mistakes. So we'll start with this thing, rectangle. So rectangle is obviously like this, and this is the length of the rectangle and this is the width of the rectangle. Then the area of rectangle is what? Or we can say base of the rectangle, not base, sorry, the breadth of the rectangle. So area is going to be what? It's going to be L into B. So you can remember this by understanding that, in on the back of your book, like your generally textbook or not textbook, the notebook, if you see at the back, the measurements of your book may be 24 centimeter by 40 centimeter. So that could be the length, that could be the area of the book. So generally all the tables and all these things, mats or something like that, whatever it is, so they are generally given in this dimensions. So basically this is your area, that is length into breadth. Now if you know this thing, you can find out each and every area apart from this rectangle. Perimeter is going to be what? Perimeter, as I told you, it's the length of the thread which will complete this shape. So it's going to be L plus B. Of course, this is also length. So again, we are going to add L, and then again we are going to add B. So that's why breadth. So the perimeter is going to be 2L plus 2B, which is nothing but 2 times L plus B. Now see, don't learn the formula, apply those formulae. Like, understand the formulas so that you will never forget. Now square is what? We are talking about square now. So square is what? Square is just a special case of rectangle. So if this is the side, that is side of the square, like this and like this, then the area is going to be what? It's going to be S into S. In rectangle it is L into B. For square it's going to be S into S. So it's basically side square. If you talk about perimeter, perimeter is going to be S plus S plus S plus S, which is nothing but 4S. That is going to be your square. Now we are going to talk about parallelogram. This is our third shape. That is nothing but parallelogram. I hope you know parallelogram is what? That the opposite sides are equal and parallel. So if we talk about this kind of parallelogram, now this is the base of the parallelogram. This is the base, and we need to know the height of the parallelogram. So let's say this is the height of the parallelogram. Now what we will do, we'll just do some additional construction like this. So we'll make this triangle like this, and we'll cut this triangle and we will place it here. As you can see, these two triangles are same or are congruent. So now if you see, the base of this parallelogram is shifted like this. Now this is going to be the base and the height is like this. Now as you can see, this is actually a rectangle of length as base and breadth as height. So the area of this parallelogram is going to be how much? It's going to be base times height. Remember, this B is base. That's why I got confused in the rectangle B. But there it's breadth. Generally, we consider width as well. So it depends. So basically, area of parallelogram is going to be base into height. Now, perimeter has nothing to deal with height. Okay. So here, if they give you that slanted side, that is, let's say this is L. So it's going to be L plus B plus L plus B. Okay. So that's how parallelogram will work. Now, the next shape we are going to talk about is triangle. Now, let's draw one triangle like this. Okay. Now, again, for this also, we'll take some additional construction. So we'll draw a line parallel to the base of the triangle like this. Okay. And we will draw one more line parallel to this side. Basically, it's going to be like this. Now, if you see, this is going to become a parallelogram. Also, of the triangle, what they will give you, this is the height and this is the base. So as you can see, the area of this parallelogram, the complete parallelogram is going to be what? It's going to be base into height. But if you talk about area of triangle, it's going to be what? So as you can see, this first and this second triangle are same. So that's why the area of triangle is going to be half of base into height. So this is your area of triangle, that is half into base into height. Now, if you talk about perimeter, again, you'll just have to add all the sides. So they will ask you about perimeter. But generally, nobody asks you perimeter of triangle and parallelogram. So that's how area and perimeter will work. So now we'll start with our final shape, that is circle. Before that, I want to introduce you to one constant, that is pi, which is nothing but pi. The value of pi is 22/7, which is nothing but 3.14. Now, what is this pi? So if I have various circles like this, like this, like this, so all these circles have different diameters. Okay, every circle has a different diameter. So let's say these are the diameters. This is D1, this is D2, this is D3, and so on. And we can find the length of the circle, right? Using that thread. I told you we can make various shapes. So what we will do, we'll put up a thread here. We'll start from here, this thread, and we will find the length of this thread, of this thread, of this thread. And let's say these are the circumference of the circle. Like perimeter of a circle is nothing but the circumference. So these are C1, C2, C3. Now the ratio of C1 upon D1, C2 upon D2, and C3 upon D3 is actually some number, and that number is nothing but pi, which is approximately 22/7, which is not accurate, which we generally use, which is 3.14. So that's the definition of pi, a ratio between the circumference and the diameter. Now you take any circle, you measure the length of the circle, you divide by the diameter, whatever the ratio you will get, it will be almost 22/7 or 3.4. Of course, it's all about degree of accuracy. So that is the definition of circle. Pi. Now, so from this thing, we can determine the formula of circumference. So circumference of the circle is going to be what? It's going to be pi times d, where d stands for diameter. If they give you radius, I know that diameter is nothing but 2 times radius. So that's why it's going to be 2 pi r. If you talk about area of circle is going to be pi r square. I can teach you that also, but since it's a revision, or it's just quick revision of all the formula, that's why I'm not gonna get into the details about how it is pi r square. But this is what area is, that is pi r square. Now, at the start of the video, I told you that I'm going to give you one tip which will avoid all the silly mistakes, and that tip is applicable to surface area, volume, and all those things, which we will cover in the next video. But here the tip is simple. When we talk about area and when we talk about perimeter, remember, perimeter is always measured in meters, like only meters, right? And if you talk about area, area is measured in meter square, right? So whenever you put any formula, make sure that where there it is meter square or meter. For example, rectangle. Now here if you see, length we will calculate in meters. I'll just change the color for this thing. Length will be calculated in meters, breadth will be calculated in meters. Meter into meter is nothing but meter square. So that is my formula for area. If you talk about perimeter, it's L plus B plus L plus B. So it's meter plus meter plus meter plus meter. At the end, it will give me meters only. So that's why perimeter is meter. Here also, as you can see, again, side is measured in meter. So meter into meter, meter square. Here, perimeter is 4S. So basically 4 times something meter. So the answer will be in meters. Okay. Same goes with parallelogram. Area is base into height. Again, meter into meter, which is meter square. Then we talk about triangle. Again, meter into meter, meter square. Now this step is mostly used in circle. Now again, in circle, we get confused whether the formula is 2 pi r or pi r square. So for example, they ask you area, and I thought that the area is 2 pi r, 2 pi r. Now I'll just think about it, that what would be the unit of this thing? There is only one r. Pi is a constant, it has no units. Now r will be only in meters, so the answer is in meter. So of course it's not the formula for area, but it is a formula for circumference. That's why the other formula is going to be pi r square. Or in other words, here as you can see, there is only one r, that's why only 1 meter or meter, whatever. Here it is r square, that's why meter into meter, again meter square. Now this rule we will use in volume and surface area as well. So we'll see you next time for volume and surface.